Hey everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home. And we've got tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today. So let's get started.
Today is episode, wait for it, 99.
Whoa.
I know.
Man.
And we're calling this We've Been Floored, and we're going to be talking about great flooring options for your home. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about all these things because we have been systematically replacing all the floors at Stone Gable over the last few years.
Well, and let me say, although we did not get flooded, we are in Houston where Hurricane Harvey hit. So there's a lot of people here that are going to have to replace their floors. So I think this is very timely for anybody that was affected by the hurricane. They're going to have to be choosing new flooring. So I'm glad we're doing it.
You're not far from our thoughts, and we all are praying for you here at Decorating Tips and Tricks.
Yes, yes.
For sure. We know how important your home is, and we're so sorry if anybody...
Yes. Yes.
And on a positive note, there are some really great options out there now that, maybe there weren't 5, 10, 20 years ago when you may have put flooring in. So we'll go over a lot of new things and maybe options that you would have passed over, but you should take a new look because they're very much improved.
I agree with you, Kelly. There's so many gorgeous options. There's so many different options now. And it really, the choices are yours. So I'm very excited to be covering this today.
Easy care, lots of, very durable, lots of options. So it is a very good time. If you have to buy flooring, now's the time. Although one of the three of us spent the weekend doing something with a big area of flooring in 105-degree heat.
Yes. So I'm going to make a good situation out of it because I'm going to start a new workout. I'm going to write a book, and it's going to because this is a full body workout, especially like that hot yoga. This is like hot concrete staining.
So you get more than just a great body and a healthy body out of it. It has decorative value as well.
It has decorative value.
Wow, Kelly, that'll catch on.
Exactly.
Tell us what you did.
Yeah.
Well, we have been working on the barn, and it's taken a long time because it's the last thing in the all the chapters of the house renovation, and so we've kind of been doing it slowly. And there was no place to put all the orphan furniture and all of that. So we had to find places for all that and give some away and all that. So got it to the point where we're ready to do the flooring. And Peter says, yes, I'm going to, let's do it together. We'll do it this weekend. I'm like, but, and you don't want to say, but when your husband, who's not like
is ready to roll
right there, wanting to be the handyman when he says, let's do it. You don't want to say, but I was like, but it's 105. He's like, we're doing it. Let's do it. So we got the concrete stain.
Kelly, you're a better woman than I.
And
I don't think I could take this on. Not in that heat.
It's a thing where, sure, you could. It's not really a thing where I would have hired someone to do it because I'm telling you, it's like an artistic endeavor as well as a workout because you really want to see how you want to get the stain on there because it's going to look different, and somebody's idea of what might look nice might not be yours. It's not just like painting a wall a color because it's not completely opaque. So the variations and the cement are going to come through. So it's really kind of a work of art as you're going through. And, in a basic sense. So anyway, and Laura helped us too, which was kind of really fun. So we started out and cleaned everything up. And what you have to do is you get the cement stain. So I purchased Quickcrete, which was very good. And it was a nice color gray. And I shook it and shook it and shook it and shook it.
What color gray?
It was a really dark gray, like almost like, tending to, like a charcoaly.
You and charcoal gray. I think that's like your favorite color.
But I didn't want to go too dark, because there's not a whole lot of natural lighting in there. But the plain cement, while it looked good, it needed something. Plus, it's so porous. So if we did have people out there and they drop something, and then you're in trouble. So we get going, and I said, well, let me figure out the method, and then you two come out, and we'll get started. So I did with paintbrush, and then really what you need to do is just a rag. So I poured it into like a pan that you would put a roast in. And I had, Laura had her old knee pads on from volleyball, and we had towels, and you're kneeling down, you're just rubbing it in.
Work.
Okay. But I shook that container so hard. But let me tell you, we did the whole main family room area, and we stood back and we thought, that looks really good. And it was really like a dark charcoal. Then I went inside and I had to wrap a birthday present because she was going to a birthday party, and I did this and that and the other thing. And you've got stains stuck all over you. And I said, Peter, I'll be back at give me like a half hour. And he was like, oh yeah, let me keep going. But we had used so much of the container that when he got to the entryway, which is quite wide, I guess I hadn't shook it as much as I thought, and it was a totally different color.
Oh, what
and
did
he
you
was
do?
rubbing it on. And so when you looked from one room to the other room, it was a different color. It was it was much darker charcoal in the other room and much lighter in the entryway.
Oh.
But here's the thing. I thought I was going to have a little mental breakdown.
You did tell us you had a rough weekend. You just didn't tell us.
I was a little sweaty, and I was like, it looks awful, and this is right at the front. And, oh my gosh. And Sophia's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And
so you really know how to party on holidays is what you're saying.
I didn't shake it up enough.
This was a long weekend. She did this over.
But I mixed in a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then we went over it. And then we had to redo the other room after we shook it up a little more and pull in more of the lighter gray. But let me tell you that it looks fantastic. So it has a real modeled look to it.
Now that I would love.
I'll bet that is awesome.
Would love. It was
Yeah.
worth
It ended up
Kelly.
looking better, you think?
It ended up looking better. But the tip there is, if you're going to use concrete stain, be prepared for a workout, but also shake that container like nobody's business.
So you had to apply it with a rag on
That's
your
what I
hands and
decided. I
knees?
tried it with a paintbrush, but it just then you're seeing like
Really?
lines.
I would be thinking
the strokes.
roller where you don't have to get on your hands and
roller
knees.
would have splashed all over my white shiplap.
Oh.
Yeah, no. But anyway, it's beautiful. And then we sealed it twice, and it looks fantastic. So I'm very happy.
So Kelly, what did you put on top of it when it dried?
Then we put a sealer on. Now they just had glossy or regular. So we just picked the regular. I didn't want to have the gloss. And it gives it a nice little sheen. And it is fantastic. It feels good on your feet. That's what the girls were saying. Oh, it feels so nice on your feet, especially it was cool because it was so hot out. But it's really lovely. And I think I had thought about putting tile out there or just leaving the cement plane.
Yeah, I know you had talked about tile.
The cement plane just looked like we didn't do anything. So I think that just wasn't the right look. Even if I had left it plain, I would have had to seal it because you don't want to have accidents.
I love the look of, like, I call it polished cement. I love that look. So I can't wait. You take a few pictures and send them to me. I can't wait to see how it looks.
Well,
and
there's a
that'll
picture
go
on
with
my Instagram.
anything.
Oh, yeah, it's on her Instagram,
Ooh.
and it's gorgeous.
Oh,
Yes,
my
well,
goodness.
There's a chandelier in there and that amazing, amazing floor.
So anyway, I would recommend that. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that flooring. And it's so inexpensive. It cost me, let's say I only had one comes in like a plastic container, not a paint can. So one container of the stain and one container of the sealer. So it's about $45.
Wow. Now that's a budget flooring.
Yeah.
option. So I think this is a great option. I love that look. I've seen so many
Me
homes
too.
where people have done it. In fact, the people that bought our house a couple of houses back when we sold our first house a long time ago, they ripped up the flooring and put in and just stained the concrete. So I just want to mention one thing. If you're doing that, is that if you're in someplace like, Houston, the ground shifts and sometimes people have a cracked slab. So you do have to be careful that when you pull up the carpet, there may be some imperfections in your floor. Remember, this is a stain. It's translucent. It's not a solid color. And so any imperfections in your floor will show through, especially a crack. So keep that in mind. But I think it's a fabulous thing to do with your floors. It's inexpensive and very cool.
Yeah, we have some cracks and I don't mind them. It actually makes it more interesting. But then again, I like the patina on just about anything. So it doesn't bother me. But so if that would trouble you, then that's probably not the look for you.
So some other options. I know somebody I know was asking about what to put on her floors. So she's had to rip them up because of Hurricane Harvey. And so she was asking for people's advice about the difference between laminate, engineered wood, and hardwoods. And my recommendation was actually for the real hardwood, or if she can't afford it, to do the laminate, because I just have not had a good experience with the engineered woods. But some of them, when I had some in one of my houses back, the one before this one, it was really red, like you were talking about, Yvonne. So, I mean,
I think it's the stain that you choose. Now, in real life, it doesn't look red at all. But for some reason in my living room and dining room, just the way it's so light out there, it picks up the red in it and makes, I think, it look very red in the photographs.
Okay. But the other thing with the engineered wood is, because I have reclaimed hardwood floors, and we had a friend come over and spill probably almost, over a pint of water on the floor. And the wood curled up. And it was like that. I mean, we got it cleaned up right away, but the wood curled up on both sides of the boards for about a month. But after a month, it sat back flat, and it's fine. But when we had some water from a leak from the our refrigerator, the ice maker line at our old house, that floor was destroyed when it got water on it. So there was no reuse in that floor. So that's why I'm not so crazy about the engineered. But, just be careful.
And, we've had all kinds of mishaps on our hardwood floors, and we've never had a problem. And we actually
what kind of flooring do you have?
Hardwood, all hardwood.
Okay. Right. But that's what I'm saying. I think it handles water better.
Okay. I'll tell you something that we have that's so interesting in our laundry room and one of our back bathrooms is we have something called luxury vinyl plank flooring, and it looks just like wood. And it really, and you lay it down like a floating floor. Like that comes in planks, and you lay it just like you would a hardwood floor. You don't have to, because it floats, you don't have to, of course, use a compressor and nail it in. But you can put it in your bathtub full of water and let it float around for 24 hours. You can submerge it and put it right on your floors. That's
great for a laundry room.
It's wonderful. And it's absolutely beautiful. Unless you're like down on your hands and knees and touching it, you can't tell that it's not hardwood floor.
I think so many of the alternatives are like the laminates and the wood tiles and all of that. They are so good these days at mimicking the look of the real wood and can be more cost effective.
Now we have a large plank laminate actually in my office where I am right now. And we did that years ago, and it matches so nicely. Now, the only thing that you can tell is if I'm wearing heels and I click my heels on it, I can tell that it doesn't have the same sound as hardwood. But to look at it, you couldn't tell.
And we've talked before about how there's some tiles that look like wood. So my friend Laura, who's in Houston and has a blog called Domesticability, I'll link to it. I'm not sure this is on her blog yet, but she took the wood looking tiles and used a herringbone pattern and did her entire first floor of her house. And they did it themselves. Can you imagine how much time that took? Because each piece of wood had to be, recut. I mean, each piece of tile had to be cut to make that herringbone pattern. But it's really lovely.
Wow. I'm giggling because I'm thinking we would waste like 2 houseworths because of the math issues.
That would be quite really hard.
Yes.
No, I would definitely rather scrub in cement stain than do that.
Yeah.
Well, me too.
Are we making you feel better than doing that?
Well, but right. But again, if you want something that's going to hold up to water, which I'm very sensitive to right now,
I'm
you can
sure
do
you
the
are.
stained hardwood. You can do tile. These are great options.
Well, the wood tiles, I really do like them. I don't know that I would want a herringbone pattern in my whole down floor because I think that might be sort of busy. I'm going to take a look at the blog, but for myself, we had thought that's the way we were going to go here in the barn. But then I thought, I think it's just a little too much with the grout and all the different lines. And I knew I was going to put a large sisal on top of it anyway. So you're spending a lot of money for the product, and then that. So
to see a rim around the edge.
To see a rim, yes. Right? So I have to tell you what I did with the. So I had one of the long planks. I don't know, they're like 30 some odd inches long, and so I put a little like vinyl backing on it that can, get wet, and I made it like a long sushi platter or a cheese platter.
You smart girl, you.
First, I was just going to put those little felty things. I was like, just put little felty things because I don't want to scratch my marble. And then I was like, that's hard when you wash it. So I put it's some sort of like foamy backing on the bottom of it so it doesn't scratch the marble. But it looked really good. We had sushi the other night and I put all these.
That is so funny.
That is funny.
So if you like that idea too, you could just go buy one, or even ask them at Home Depot, can I just have one as a sample?
Now, here's something that I want to do with my flooring. And I've told you this, I think, it was a long time ago in one of our first podcasts. I want to paint my flooring white. Now,
I know. I do too. But I'm
badly.
I want to do that because we have some pine floors also, and I would love to paint them. But with the dog scratches, I can't.
I think
do
that
a
would
solid.
be okay. I would think that would be, for me, that would be okay. But I mean,
It's
Bobby.
pine. It's pine. The claws go right through the wood.
That's right.
It's not like hardwood.
Well, Bobby rarely says no to me, to be honest with you. He's usually very like, okay, we'll just try to make it work.
Right.
He said no for the white floors.
Too
I hadn't heard that update.
Oh, yeah. And I said, Bobby, honestly, I will go after everybody with a Swiffer. I'll keep it in my hand.
Oh, she's going to really suffer for her art.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've talked about this before. A couple of us have been to Amy Howard's home in Memphis.
A couple of us.
Yes, I know. Well, Amy, if you're listening to this,
she has a new house, by the way.
I know she does, but her pied a terre was so beautiful, and she had these white hardwood floors. The first time I've ever seen them, and it's like I almost fell over in the foyer. I mean, her house is
not because it was slippery.
No, because it was so gorgeous.
You almost passed out.
Glossy paint.
It was. I can't get that out of my mind. So the only way that I'm going to get it out of my mind is someday I'm going to have white flooring.
But let me say, I mean, you know how I love you, and I do really, 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 really like Bobby. But I have to say, I kind of think I might have to go into Bobby's camp, even though I love you a little more, because it really would change the whole way you decorate.
With my furniture, it would look gorgeous.
It does lend itself to a much more of a feminine look, or like a Scandinavian look.
It wasn't. No, her house was neutral. Or her decor.
It wasn't too feminine, and it wasn't really farmhousey either. It was just kind of it was gorgeous,
very eclectic, and you just have to see it to believe it.
Okay.
So, Amy, please invite the three of us. We would love to come.
Yeah, and then I can really make my own decision.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
Well, we have plywood up here in my studio, and that is painted white. So that's a limited space, but it looks really great, and that's a really inexpensive way to go, just to paint your plywood.
Is it just white, or did you do a pattern?
No, it's just white. In fact, I'm sitting here right now. It needs, because we've been doing the work downstairs. This is kind of now where all the little orphans and everybody came up, and people were up here with their shoes on and things like that. So it definitely needs a good cleaning, but I may just give it a good cleaning and then go over it again with another coat of white to freshen it up. But I think it looks great. I mean, you see the seams where the plywood is and stuff, but if you've got a more casual
charming
room, or you have a cottagey look, I think it works really well.
Well, and hers, Amy's house was not cottagey. It was just kind of, it was actually a little more
eclectic.
Contemporary.
It was pretty,
but the white was more of an lacquered look. Really, it wasn't rustic.
Okay,
it was very nice.
So so that's a different feel. Yeah,
we could talk the whole time on flooring on just that
floor.
And I think Amy says she's working on a formula. She has
was.
Amy Howard at home. Her beautiful, the best chalk paints I have ever used, and she has lacquers and sprays and all these beautiful different finishes that you can put on to paint with. And she's coming up with this, and it's something that I'd certainly love to get my hands on.
Looking forward.
What
to
about carpeting? Let's totally turn the corner.
Well, that's interesting because we had been looking at houses in North Carolina, and we live in Houston. And it was very interesting. The decorating of the houses seems very different. And the carpet thing is really interesting because in Houston, a lot of the houses, really, the carpet has gone out of favor. Some people have carpet, but it's just not popular in new homes. But in North Carolina, I know when we looked there, almost every house, and I'm talking new houses, had carpet, whereas here the new houses tend to not have carpet. So I find that to be very interesting.
I live on the East Coast, and I think that carpeting is still popular here. But I think as new houses are being built, and I think it's a matter of economy as well.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. That's true.
Mm-hmm. So are we dancing around the question, is wall-to-wall carpeting dead?
I don't think it's dead, but certainly it's not preferred.
Here's what I did.
It's wounded.
Here's what I did in a couple of our rooms is I had carpet bound and made into a rug. So it was a custom made rug. It's wall to wall carpet, but I didn't use it as wall to wall carpet. It's just a rug.
Smart, Anita.
And I know Yvonne did the same thing.
I've done the same thing. You get a professionally serged edge though.
Yeah.
Right. And that is another, honestly, I prefer that because I would rather have the wood floors. But if you want to protect them, if you want something soft to walk on, you can do that.
It's great in a bedroom.
Oh,
if you have a smaller bedroom, but you want and there's not a ton of room, like we have it in a guest room, and it's perfect because it's just soft, but yet there's a border of hardwood around it. And we had it serged, and it looks just lovely in it, but it still does have the hardwood peeking around the edges, which is, a dead giveaway that it's not a wall to wall. I think wall to wall. I bet you, I don't know for sure, but I probably bet 9 out of 10 people, if they could choose something for their floors, would not choose carpeting, would choose hardwood or tile or something else. But I think a lot of people do it because it's an economical way. If you don't, because we install all of our hardwood floors, and that was just as good as economical, because we got it on sale, as buying a better wall to wall. So it was, pretty reasonable. But I think if you don't do that, buying hardwood and having it installed is very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it can be. Absolutely.
And depending on what you get, it can be, like if you buy heartwood or something like that, very expensive.
Well, I think also if you're selling a home, or you're thinking down the line, oh, I need to do some work on my house now, but maybe in 5 years I'm not going to be here anymore. You probably would do well to do some sort of engineered wood or a laminate or something like that, because you're going to wall-to-wall carpeting is not inexpensive either, and you have to get the padding and all that. Because for resale, it's much better. And people are always here anyway. When you go and look at a house, if there's wall-to-wall carpeting, they're in the corner, like picking at the carpet to see if there's hardwood underneath it.
Absolutely. Well, in my mother's era, when they bought a home, it was hardwood floors, and it was totally carpeted.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll tell you what people did in our old neighborhood. We had a couple of neighbors that did this, and it was the most amazing look. What they did upstairs, it was carpeted upstairs. They ripped up the carpet, and of course, it was a house built in the 70s. So there were no beautiful hardwoods underneath. There was a pine subfloor that was completely unfinished. However, what they did was they had some guy come in and fill in a lot of the gaps, because, it was just to support the carpet. Sure. And so there were a lot of gaps. So they kind of filled in, I don't know what kind of stuff he put in there, maybe some wood putty or something. And then they stained it. It looked amazing. And I actually suggested that to a design client of mine. And she started crying. She was so excited because they could not afford hardwoods.
Right.
She wanted wood up there. And when I suggested that to her, she was just in tears. She was so excited.
Or paint your floor white.
Well, yeah, or you could paint
do
it
that.
white.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, okay, here's an idea. Because I'm not sure how practical also the white painted floor is. So my suggestion would be to go with something more translucent. So if you have dog scratches in the floor, it's not a solid white, and I don't think it's going to show up as strongly. So that would be my suggestion.
Like a glaze or something?
Yeah, or
glaze it in something and then put a polyurethane over it?
There's some external deck stains. I know Sherwin-Williams has one called Super Deck, and you can get it in a translucent. So you could get a white that's kind of, you would see the grain, but it wouldn't be a solid color.
That's really a good idea. Nice. I'm wondering how easy that would be to bring inside.
So why don't you go back to Bobby and see if that might work?
Yeah, maybe a white one.
No, I'll stick with my hardwoods if I can't paint them white.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any other flooring that we want to talk about today?
Well, what kind of reclaimed wood do you have, Anita? It's oak?
Yes, it's reclaimed oak. Okay,
and now, when people say reclaimed, I did a lot of research about that for my house, and it was very expensive. Because the labor involved of taking it out. So is there a universe of reclaimed, like really super reclaimed from a barn in Vermont? Or, is there sort of a middle grade? Did you find, because you went ahead and did that in your home, so maybe you have a little more information than I do.
Well, I worked with my builder, and he had access to wood floors coming out of the houses around here, and
so it was locally sourced too, which is
how
great.
Nice
yes, and it's red oak and then white oak, I think, but it's all reclaimed. So it's harder than the newer oak, and it looks gorgeous.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, because I think a lot of the cost in the reclaimed flooring is the shipping. Because like I'm saying, you could get it from a barn in Vermont or, a farmhouse in Tennessee, and they bring it to these places. There's a few distributors in the Los Angeles area, and it was wildly expensive because they have to ship all this heavy wood all over the place. And then, of course, the installation and all that. We ended up going with an engineered hardwood throughout the house here. There was some really bad buckled, I guess it was like linoleum, but linoleum's making a comeback these days too, but this was not.
In a whole new generation of it, though.
Exactly. This was not this generation. This was many generations ago of linoleum. And then some hardwood and then some just badly stained. I don't even know what kind of wood it was. So I wanted some uniformity. And I have to say that while it was not inexpensive, I did do a lot of shopping around and we went with the engineered wood. I think, it's made to look like it has the patina of some reclaimed wood would have, but it didn't have the cost of that. Mm-hmm. And just being able to get that look throughout the entire house. There's only one room that we didn't do in that, and that's my other daughter's room. It's really brought cohesiveness to the whole look. The flooring makes such a difference. It was tremendous change. Well, if you spend the money for your hardwood floors, make sure, like we've had our hardwood floors in parts of our home for 27 years. No, how many years have we lived here? 22 years, 23 years. And our kitchen, where for years and years and years, decades, we've had dogs and cats. So they've sort of worn it around where their dog bowl was. And in my kitchen, we have to have it redone. Now we think, so you just want to make sure that you can, have them, stripped and have that sandpaper going over it and restained and the whole 9 yards. So now we're to the point as, do we just try to match it, or do we do a whole different color? But if we do that, we've got to do the whole downstairs. Right. And then it's like, well, we spent all this money to get the hardwoods upstairs. We want them to match too. Right.
Mm-hmm. So those are things you have to think about in the long run. And how long, if you're buying different kinds of flooring, how long is there a guarantee on it? How long do they think it'll last? Is it a 50-year guarantee? What is that compared to a 30 or a 20-year guarantee? Those things are really important to think about.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to also be thinking about whether or not, this is a huge investment unless you're staining the concrete. So, you really don't want to go with something trendy, something that's just going to be popular for 5 years. You really do not want to be redoing your floors in 5 years. So, that is something really to keep in mind. So as much as we love that white floor look, I don't know if either one of us is going to do it.
Oh, it's going to be a classic. At least in my house, it will be. Hey, girls, before we go, I'd like to shout out to one of our dear, dear friends, Kari Ann. Kari Ann has a blog called Thistlewood, and she has a new book out. And she is a voracious writer, and she is hysterical. Yes, and her new book is called So Close to Amazing. I know that you've read it, right, girls?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And we love it.
Awesome.
And it's stories, funny stories, laugh out loud stories. She tells this story, my favorite one, about she cannot cook. And when I talked to her, and she just was visiting here a couple months ago, and she's from Kentucky. She moved to Texas, and we're talking. I said, "Oh, you just have to." I was telling her how to cook something, and she looked at me like I had three heads. And she says, "Remember, I don't cook." And I said, "Oh yeah, Karianne, but she can do everything else." And she tells this story about she decided she's going to make a roast, and how the roast went from the crock pot to her garden club meeting. And it just is so funny. But along the way, she talks about the lessons God has taught her. And it's just it's so uplifting and so funny. And I did a post for her today, and she said, Yvonne, would you share maybe and it's called So Close to Amazing moment in your life. And I've had so many of them that my sister and I call it the Lucille Ball factor. Things that just sort of befall us.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants.
And I told the short version on my blog today, but I'll share with you one of my many So Close to Amazing. And this took place this was a while back, maybe a decade ago. And I was meeting a girlfriend for breakfast, and it was Christmas time. And I had on this really cute sort of like my black skinny jeans and a real cute pair of cute boots that had this like silver buckles that went across them, and a really cute sweater. And have you ever gotten up in a day and went like, wow, I really look good today? And, not that it happens that often, but I'm thinking like, wow, I really look good. Like I had a good hair day. All the stars were all aligned. Everything was working fine. So I go to this restaurant and I'm just like feeling really good and walk in, and I'm looking around and people are like looking at me and smiling. And I'm thinking, you know it, I'm looking good today. I'm cute today. Woohoo. Yes, I am cute. Keep looking. And excuse me. They sat me all the way on the other side of the restaurant. It was a big, big restaurant. So I went in and I'm like sauntering in because I think I just look so cute. And I slipped gracefully into the booth, and I'm sitting there waiting for my girlfriend. So my girlfriend comes like 5 minutes later, and she has this appalling look on her face. And she's going like, oh my gosh. And of course, I want to be appalled right along with her. So I'm going, what is it? And she says, look down there. And attached to the silver buckle of my boot was my pair of granny panties. So now I'm thinking, yes, those are my underwear. She goes, oh my gosh, there's somebody's underwear. And so it couldn't be the cute pair, like the bikini cute pair. It's the pair like my comfort ones that are like all the way to the waist, that they were pink at one time and they've been run through the wash with the wrong colors. And they're sort of like that dull gray pink, and and you're like, oh no. And I'm thinking to myself, and I sort of got the giggles, how on earth did they get on the floor?
Well,
how did they get off my bottom and onto the floor? So she's going like, oh my gosh, they're going to have to close this place down. We're going to have to call the authorities. And like she's going on and on and on. So I said, oh, don't worry about it. I'll pick it up. And she goes, don't touch those things. And she says, you don't know where they've been. And I'm going to myself, oh, I do know where they've been. So I took my napkin and picked them up and then put them in the seat next to me because I wanted to take them home. You know, they're my favorite granny panties.
I would be ready to release them into the wild at that point. I
love these. So release them into the wild. So so she calls over the waitress and she says, we found a pair of underwear on the floor. And all along, I'm like thinking, how did they get there? How did they get off my body? Now I'm getting a little bit of the giggles because I just have like a really sort of funny sense of humor. And she says, you've got to take them away. So the waitress has her tray and she puts the tray out like for me to put them on. And I like shook my head no. And she kept like pushing the tray at me. And finally I like picked them up by the edge and like they're so long because they're like, you know, the ones that go up to your waist and her eyes got the size of saucers. And I put them delicately on the tray and she lifted the tray up overhead and went all the way through the restaurant into the back room. And I'm going like, oh no, they're missing. They're gone. So it finally dawned on me the night before. Our daughter was a cheerleader in high school and we had a basketball game. So I'd showered like, you know, in the afternoon and put on fresh clothes and we went to the basketball game. We got home really late. I just like took everything off in one fell swoop. And I thought, oh, those pants will work the next day. So of course I put on new underwear, put the pants back on. Well, the pants were like stuck in the pant leg.
Oh, no.
And worked their way down my leg.
Oh, no.
Got stuck on the buckle of my boot and walked with me across the restaurant.
Oh, my goodness. Like you couldn't try to do that.
No. No. Well, you wouldn't want to try to do that. No. And I said that was my so close to amazing moment because I thought I was pretty cool for a while. And I also said, I always used to tell my children, God says, do not be wise in your own eyes. Oh, and he also says that he will humble the proud. And let me tell you,
there you got
a pretty humbling experience.
Oh my goodness. That is so funny. So go get our friend, Kari Ann's
wonderful book. And you can get it on Amazon and we'll have
a link to it.
Yeah, in the show notes.
Oh, well, thanks so much for joining us for this episode where we've covered lots of flooring options and hopefully giving you some ideas on what you can do for your home. And we've got this great book to share with you today, the So Close to Amazing. So thank you for joining us. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey there. If you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy and it would mean so much to us. And if you do rate and review us, we're going to enter you to win a fantastic giveaway. The details for the giveaway are in the show notes for this episode, and you can find the show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com.